In Paris on the weekend. 2 extraordinary days now of riots after Paris Saint-Germain on Saturday won their first Champions League soccer title against Inter Milan. It wasn't even played in Paris. The rioters, you will see, are of many races, but there is no mistaking how many are, in fact, seem to be, of Middle Eastern or African background. Again yesterday, more riots in a country that seems to have huge trouble integrating those of Muslim background. 2 people have been killed, 200 injured, including police and firemen, and about 500 people arrested. Millions of dollars of damage also done. It's just incredible. And you think of the terror that these 2 young women trapped in their car by that crowd, what they must have felt. Not surprising, one French minister declared there were now barbarians loose in France. Meanwhile, many illegal immigrants in France are sailing on to Britain. On Saturday, 1,200 crossed the Channel to England. That is a record for this year, as French police just watched them leave. And almost all of these boat people are young men. No women in this particular boat that I can see, no children, which is weird if they really are refugees fleeing persecution and war and what have you. Joining me from London is writer, broadcaster and commentator Esther Kraku. Esther, great to see you again. What is going on in Paris? That looks more like a civil war than a football celebration.
And you know what's sad, Andrew? This wasn't unexpected. Actually, Ousmane Dembélé, who was part of the winning French side, said even though he wasn't playing in Paris, that the streets of Paris, he hopes, are calm and celebrate with sanity, because many people expected this to happen. And it's quite an unholy alliance. We now see the rise of sort of French hooliganism, particularly after sporting tournaments, kind of map out where the country is in terms of social integration and this feeling of vivre ensemble. So we remember in 1998 when France won the World Cup, you know, there was really a sense that France was kind of at its peak of multiculturalism. There was, you know, a sign of integration and really embracing French values and culture. You know, unemployment was down, the economy was growing. There was a real sense of conviviality, so much so that you saw millions of people celebrating on the streets of Paris back then and nothing happened. But since that time, you've just seen the social breakdown of these groups of people that are self-isolating in these, what is effectively ghettos, these banlieues on the outskirts of major cities. And they don't only physically self-isolate, they also ideologically self-isolate. So you have this generation of young men, predominantly young men, from parts of North Africa and the Middle East that just don't accept French values, that hate everything about France. And so time and time again, we've seen after France wins major tournaments or does well in major tournaments, you see this rise of hooliganism, of hundreds of arrests, police officers being targeted, police cars being burnt. We saw this when France beat Morocco in the World Cup semi-finals back in 2022. We saw the same action. We saw this recently when PSG beat Arsenal a few weeks ago. And now we're seeing it this time around as well. Even when France won the World Cup in 2018, we saw similar scenes of just madness and chaos on the streets of Paris. And it's basically a sign that these people are only going to come out when France is celebrating something that's of significant national interest, to show their disdain for the country. And I've seen this firsthand. I lived in France. I've seen how bad ghettoization is and the literal physical segregation of people that really have no interest in integrating in France at all. And I hate to say this, but I can only imagine this getting worse, unfortunately.